It's 2026. This new year represents more than a change in the calendar. It's an opportunity to reset, refocus, and realign. New you doesn't mean becoming someone else. It means returning to yourself with clarity, intention, and purpose. 2026 is about regrouping, letting go of what no longer serves you, strengthening what does, creating habits that support growth, balance, and sustainability. The image that you see of pulling the ropes symbolizes intentional effort. Growth requires action, not just intention. This journey for this year will focus on mindset shifts, accountability, personal and professional alignment, consistent, realistic progress, not perfection. At Regroup Coaching, we believe transformation happens when you decide to do the following: pause and assess where you are, get honest about where you want to go, build a clear, supported plan to move forward. So today is about claiming ownership of the next chapter and deciding what 2026 will demand and deserve from you. Before we hop into today's agenda, let's take a moment and look at this quote. Setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. This quote reminds us that nothing becomes real until it's defined. Goals take what we feel, hope, or dream and give it structure and direction. Without goals, our ideas remain invisible, existing only as thoughts or intentions. Setting goals help us clarify what we truly want, prioritize our time and energy, measure progress instead of guessing. And we know goals are not about pressure, they're about purpose. When we write goals down, we make a commitment to ourselves. This is where vision meets action. Dreams become plans, plans become steps, steps become results. And as we move forward, the focus isn't going to be doing everything at once, but making the invisible visible. One goal at a time. This session is designed to be intentional, reflective, and actionable. We'll be eliminating the excuses, not to assign blame, but to identify the habits, mindsets, and narratives that have been holding us back. Next, we'll focus on new beginnings. This is about releasing past limitations and creating space for growth, clarity, and renewed purpose. We'll then move on to affirmations because we consistently need to say to ourselves what we believe. And what we believe drives our actions. Finally, we'll transition from goal setting to goal getting, turning ideas into plans, breaking big goals into manageable steps, creating accountability for follow through. This is structured to help us all move from awareness to action. So by the end of this session, you should leave with a greater clarity, a renewed mindset, and practical steps that you can begin to implement immediately. So before we start, let's talk about where we should stop. And let's stop eliminating the excuses. So we ask ourselves that question that you see here. Why can't we move forward? Well, for one, we're experiencing fear. Fear is one of the strongest blockers. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or even the fear of success can paralyze action. Our brain naturally wants to avoid risk, which is why we sometimes stay in comfort zones, even when we know growth lies outside. What we need to think about is acknowledging that fear, but don't let it decide your actions. You have to start with tiny steps that make you feel safe, but still move you forward because fear fades when you gain momentum. Don't want to fail? Failure can feel like a threat to identity or self-worth. We might avoid trying because failing seems worse than staying where we are. But think about it this way. You have to reframe failure as feedback. Every misstep teaches us something essential. Successful people often fail multiple times but keep trying. Start seeing each failure as a stepping stone rather than a dead end. Next, don't know what to expect. The unknown is intimidating. Not knowing the outcome makes it hard to act. We crave certainty, but growth lives in uncertainty. So what should we do? We got to break it down. Make a small, manageable plan and accept that you can adjust it as you go. Planning reduces the unknown and puts it into actionable steps. Next, don't know where to start. Feeling overwhelmed often comes from trying to see the whole path at once. When the first step isn't obvious, we freeze. So look at it this way. Focus on one concrete first step. Even the tiniest action, sending one email, making a list, researching, creates momentum and it clarifies the next move. Lastly, comparing yourself to others. This is a classic trap. When you measure yourself against others' highlight reels, it's easy to feel inadequate or behind. Comparison normally steals energy and focus. Measure your progress against yourself, not others. Celebrate those small wins and recognize that everyone's journey is different. The common thread here in all of these blockers is perfectionism and the fear of uncertainty. Movement happens when you decide to do the following: accept fear but act anyway, take small concrete steps, focus on your own path, not others, and even moving 1% forward each day compounds into huge growth over time. And remember, every accomplishment begins with the decision to try. Now, I want you to take a few moments and think about what was a lesson you learned from 2025. Great. So you should have wrote that down on a piece of paper. So let me give you an example. Growth was a lesson for me. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from consistency. And even on hard days, waiting for the right time often seemed like it was never happening. I thought about fear was another lesson. Fear doesn't disappear from action. It fades after action. Now, I talked to a few other people and they gave me a few that I would like to share. One thing they learned was that progress is more important than perfection. Comparing their journey to others only slowed down their growth. Taking small steps daily helped create big long-term change. Also, rest was productive. Burnout isn't successful, and they learned to trust themselves more and stop overthinking. So that might have helped you at this moment trigger a few things that you've learned, but take another moment and write down even more. And then I want you to start thinking of how you can move forward into a new beginning. Every new beginning starts with a single thought. The spark of an idea or a desire to change can set the stage for transformation. But only it becomes real when you write it down, turning intention into clarity. Commitment is the next step, right? Truly dedicating yourself to what you want to achieve or change ensures that your efforts are consistent and purposeful. So when you look here, start with the thought. Write it down. Be committed to what you want to do or change. Try forgetting about the past. Fight your fears. Look towards positivity. Welcome new experiences. Increase your social circle. Celebrate your achievements and be consistent in your decisions. A fresh start also requires letting go of the past. So let's explore that a little bit. Right? Holding on to old mistakes, regrets, or negative experiences can weigh you down. So learning to forget the past allows you to move forward unburdened. Along the way, it's natural to encounter fears. Again, we talked about that fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of stepping outside of your comfort zone. But facing and fighting your fears is essential for growth. And finally, think about cultivating a mindset of positivity. It helps guide your journey. By focusing on what's possible rather than what went wrong, you open yourself up to opportunities and personal growth. A new beginning isn't just about change in action. It's a shift in mindset, perspective, and commitment to yourself. This is such a great quote from Walt Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So think about, again, the power of beginning. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. These words remind us that action is the bridge between dreams and reality. Every new beginning starts with a thought, but a thought alone won't move mountains. You have to write it down, clarify what you want, and commit fully to your goal. I know it's hard. Face your fears head on. Even when it feels uncomfortable, remember the courage grows when you act despite your fear. Surround yourself with positivity, focus on what's possible, and take those small, consistent steps. Action transforms intention into reality. Instead of overthinking or waiting for that perfect moment to start, just do it now. Each step you take builds momentum, turns ideas into results, and proves that not only the way forward is through doing, not just talking. A new beginning isn't about perfection. It's about commitment, courage, and the willingness to start. I want you to also take some time to think about affirmations. Those are so important to begin at the beginning of the year, right? Because they are positive statements that help guide your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Writing them down is a powerful way to focus your mind, build confidence, and reinforce the changes you want in your life. The key is to make them specific, present tense, and personal. Phrases that feel real and achievable. When repeated consistently, affirmations can shift your mindset, replace that self-doubt with self-belief, and keep you motivated on your journey toward growth and positivity. Your mindset is the architect of your reality. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your internal narrative is programmed to just be just for enough, you will never reach extraordinary. So what we're going to do is just take an example here of these affirmations for personal, financial, and professional. And this will help guide you of some of the things that you should write down, that you should say to yourself every day. So let's explore a few under personal. I am powerful. I respect myself. I forgive myself for the past and will not take it in my future. Here's a few for financial. I am successful. I have the confidence needed to succeed is within me. I can control my money and my money will not control me. Professional. I am a great user of my time and talents. I am knowledgeable. I am the architect of my life, and I build its foundation and choose its contents. Now, you have some great examples here to go by. Now, keep in mind, those affirmations ensure when the big opportunity arrives that your mindset is ready to seize it. So take that time and write down affirmations. You may have more than these 3 categories here, but all you need to do is just make sure daily that you get up and recite them. Keep them close to you. Print them out on a piece of paper, put them inside of your mirrors that you have in the bathroom or wherever other place that you look, or even keep them in your phone. Wherever you feel the need that you will see it often is where you should place those affirmations. And as we step into 2026, let this year be a blank canvas for your growth, courage, and dreams. Leave behind fear, doubt, and the weight of the past. Take bold action, stay committed to your goals, and celebrate every small victory along the way. Embrace challenges as lessons, focus on positivity, and remember that every day is an opportunity to create the life you want. This is your year. Own it, live it, and make it extraordinary.